And welcome back to the New York Jets franchise rebuild. Here today, we will be doing another offseason. It will be the fourth offseason of this rebuild, as we are trying to reload after a 13-4 year and getting the #1 seed in the AFC and getting all the way to the AFC Championship game. We are trying to get more talent onto this roster. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought of all the moves I made, and don't forget to subscribe. If you guys are new to the channel, these off seasons are very long episodes and they go usually for a little over an hour because I just kind of rant the entire time. So I hope you enjoy myself going into a lot of detail with this team. So where do I want to start off? And I think we're going to start off by just talking about the roster, because I think that I want you guys to have a good understanding of what I'm going to be trying to do during this offseason. So let's start with probably the easiest positional group on the team right now, and that's the quarterback group. With Steven James, Ezekiel Knowles, and Owen Stafford all under contract, I don't think we're going to make any move at quarterback. I'm not looking to replace our starter, Steven James. He's entering now into year 4 at 26 years old. He has a 5th-year option that we're going to probably pick up this season, and I'm happy with that. We'll have him for the next 2 years, and it won't be the super expensive contract, giving us the ammunition in terms of money to make a lot more moves, to hopefully put a lot of pieces around him. But now with the development of Owen Stafford and his development trait being revealed as superstar, which just kind of gives me a little bit more of a reason to either go to only 2 quarterbacks on the roster or to give him a little bit more opportunities to play in blowout games. Hopefully we can give Owen some more opportunities in this up and coming year, at least just to get onto the field, because he could be a good trade piece, or you never know. But what do we need to do to help out our young quarterback? And I think the biggest thing we need to do is give him another playmaker. No matter how much I like Stephen Meredith and Elijah Moore and Michael Carter, that's our big 3. And unfortunately, Meredith is injury prone. Michael Carter is entering into a contract season, and he needs a new deal. And Elijah Moore's under contract, but that's it. We have basically one guy, and we need to find someone else. We need to rewrite the mistakes that I have made. Bringing in Brandon Cooks was honestly a major mistake. I know in his first year with New York, he had a fantastic year. I know he missed the last 3 games in this season, but he almost posted up 1,000 yards, almost 10 touchdowns. And these aren't bad numbers, they're just not great numbers. And he's a player that I'm going to be definitely considering moving off of. The wide receiver position is a spot where I think we need to get better at. No matter how much I like Sean Samuel, who is, in my opinion, a very good number 3 receiver and a very below average number 2 receiver, that just tells me we need to add another wide receiver. At running back, I don't want to pay Michael Carter, a lot of money, the $7 to $10 million a season, and I think Adam Wright can do his job. It's just then we have to draft someone or sign a veteran. So in terms of the running back group, there is a question mark. Now, I am looking to bring back Michael, but at his overall and his age, I think he's 25 years old. He's 26, but 89 overall, having 3 1,000-yard seasons in his career. I mean, he's definitely going to want good money, and he's developed excellently in this league. Does he deserve a second contract on this roster? Absolutely. Will I give it to him? I don't know just yet. In terms of for the offensive line, it's mostly bringing in 2 high-quality veterans, maybe bringing back Jake Matthews, bringing someone else in, because during the postseason, we didn't have quality depth to help out the team. And no matter how much I like my starting 5, we need to make sure that we have 2 backups with Mekhi Becton injuries issues, and each other player has dealt with some injuries here and there. We need quality depth. I also would like to draft a young offensive lineman too with one of my earlier picks. So just to get them developed, because Jack Contlin's entering into a contract here in this up and coming season. So I want to make sure I have a plan for the future just as much as I have a plan for this up and coming season. So in terms of the offense, it's basically figuring out what we do at the running back position. Do we keep Michael Carter? Do we just draft someone to pair up with Adam Wright? Getting a big veteran in the offseason, moving off of Brandon Cooks, and then in the tight end group, kind of just going with it. You know, maybe bringing back Jawan Johnson. But I think going into the year with Meredith and Dylan Henry as the two tight ends, we should be okay. So that's the offense. Defensively, it's a little bit different. In terms of safeties, I think we're good. I think with Ashlyn Davis and Jalen Bonds at our two safety spots, we are kind of secured over the next few seasons. At off-ball linebacker, well, I'm going to go in this season with the mindset of Jalen Smith being the starter, and same with Theodore Dickerson as our starters. So in reality, it's only the left outside linebacker that we have to replace, and I'm considering bringing back Blake Cashman to do so. In terms of edge rusher, well, I like the 4 guys we have on the roster. Maybe we bring in someone for quality depth. So I'm not really looking to replace anyone. In terms of so now it really kind of goes to the interior of the defensive line and corner. That's where a lot of changes I'm expecting to happen. So let's start with corner. Bradbury needs a new contract, and I want to move off of Dante Jackson. Jackson's another contract that I gave during the first off season, thinking that he could come in here and be our #1 corner for years to come, and he has not worked out. He lost his job this past season. He's in his last year of his 4-year contract, and he's a fast athlete. He's a great athlete, but he's not great in coverage. He's not a #1 corner. He's more of a #2. So between him and Brandon Cooks, I'm looking to move off of. For James Bradbury, basically I'm just looking at regression. If his coverage abilities stay in a solid spot, and same with his speed, absolutely I'm looking to bring back Bradbury for another season, because I think he can make more plays for our defense than he did this past season. And if we keep Bradbury, have Bryce Hall and Michael Hamden, we have a very good secondary. Sure, will I try to add another young kid? Absolutely. I think we need to do the same thing we're doing on offensive line, is bringing some pieces that are younger to help out the team. In terms of the defensive line, and more specifically the interior, with Fletcher Cox and Grover Stewart's contracts up, I don't know if Fletcher Cox will retire. He's 34 years old. I don't know how hard regression will hit. It's not like he had a fantastic year with us. He had a solid year, for a rotational defensive tackle, but, we need to make a decision on him. For Grover Stewart, it's basically, do I want to bring him back for his run-stopping potential? That's it. Either that, or I don't really know. Now, I have players written down. I usually go through this before the off-season of free agents that I am targeting or considering between both depth and big-time starters. And there are 2 big-time starters that I'm hoping that will hit the market, and one of them is at wide receiver, and one of them is at the interior of the defensive line, which I will hope will take this team to the next level. As well as, let's just talk about the needs that I'm going to be considering to draft, not just free agents. So I have 5 guys that are highly on my board, and one of them is a corner, a defensive tackle, a right tackle, a wide receiver, and a running back. Now, those are all positions where we're moving off of and considering bringing in veterans. I want to make sure that I have players just in case. Now, for both Brandon Cooks and Adante Jackson, I am looking to get either a 2nd or a 3rd round pick for each of them, so to get us some draft capital. I'll see if I'm going to be able to do that today. Let's get into the off season. We have to go through the Super Bowl very quickly, and then we have the re-signing phase. So let's go sim pass this week with the Jags versus the Washington football team, and let's see who wins the Super Bowl. And this season, the Jacksonville Jaguars have won their first ever Super Bowl, beating the Washington football team 28-17. Derek Brown is the MVP, and this is all the important yearly awards. So Zeke Elliott, MVP, we were the coach of the year, and Jack Martin. Christian McCaffrey, Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa. Daryl was the Offensive Rookie of the Year, and then D'Angelo Jenkins, Defensive Rookie of the Year. So those are the awards. Last year's Super Bowl victory was the Seahawks, and then the Chiefs won it in our first year, and actually our last 2 years. So those have been the Super Bowl victors over the last 4 seasons. And it's now, let's go check out retirement before we get into the re-signing phase. Let's go see if we have any retirements. I think Fletcher Cox would be the only one. So Demario Davis decided to retire. Tremaine Armstrong retired. We have a lot of players. Darius Slay, Brandon Brooks, Chandler Jones retired. So a lot of big names. Big Ben retired after a long, great career. Taysom Hill retired as well. Matt Ryan. So a lot of big names retiring from our franchise, but only one from ours. So Fletcher Cox is coming back, which is definitely interesting. We're sitting right around with $72 million, which gives us a lot of flexibility with our re-signing. We have 15 players to negotiate, and I don't know if I'm going to really re-sign all of them. There's a lot of players that I don't really know what I want to do with just yet. Let's go with the players that I'm going to just immediately test. So I'm going to let Devin McKnight test. I'm going to let Cody Walter test. Same with Isaiah Wilson. I'm going to let him test as well. Juwan Johnson, Robert Gordon. Now, Josh Myers, I would like to bring him back for a 1-year contract. We'll just kind of bump this up a little bit. Just having quality offensive line depth. Myers has been a starter for a while. I don't want Mark anymore. I think we'll let him test. Blake Cashman, this is a contract that I would be willing to give him, and he would basically take Theodore's role. So I'm going to offer him basically $4 million, but he's going to test. He's a player that I'll come back to in the offseason or in the free agent pool. Melvin Gordon, Will Fuller, we're letting test. This is not a big enough contract for Michael Carter. Don't know just yet what I'll do with him. But these are the big 4. Now, with Jake Matthews, I want to offer him this contract because I think he can be one of our 2 offensive linemen that is quality depth, and hopefully he'll accept this. He does not. So now it's down to Bradbury, who still has very good speed and still good coverage, even after regression. So, and he is one of the players I would like to bring back out of all of them. So, you know, he lost a little zone, a little man, but not a terrible amount of regression. He still is actually a very good corner and probably has some of the better coverage ability on our roster. So Bradbury is definitely a player I want to offer a contract to. For both Grover Stewart and Fletcher Cox, I think we're going to let test. I don't want to give them 2 big 1-year contracts right now. So what do we do? So let's just offer a quick contract here to Bradbury. I would like for him to come back, so we'll offer him a 1-year, $7 million deal. We'll see if he'll come back, and he stays, so we keep Bradbury. We keep our number 1 corner, so that means we can move off of Adante Jackson right as free agency starts. Now for Michael Carter. See, this is a very easy contract to just give to a running back. You know, it's about $4 million, maybe 5-ish season, but I just don't want to pay him. I don't know why. I just think that going younger at this position is the smarter route. I just don't know. So with Michael Carter, I think we're going to let him test. I think I want to give him a 2-year contract, smaller than what he's asking for right now. I just don't see it. I'm not going to tag him. I'm not going to tag any of these players, as well as I want to have as much money as I possibly can entering into this free agent pool. So not a lot of big moves we made. So let's go enter into free agency now. So entering into now the big free agent period, we have $63 million, 52 players on the roster, so we have a lot of depth already, but we'll see what we can do. Let's check out this market here. And the best player is DeAndre Hopkins, Aaron Donald, Zach Martin, David Marquette, Rondale Jones, Michael Carter. There's a lot of big name free agents, and Devontae Smith is out there. But these are the two. These are the two that I had written down in my notes that I wanted to go after. DeAndre Hopkins and Aaron Donald. So let's go make some contract. We got some big money to offer here. And Aaron Donald will come in here and play right next to Quentin Williams and be a big-time playmaker. He's 34 years old. He still has excellent ratings. I just don't think we can't offer. We have to offer it to him. So let's just see what $21 million would do. 95 points. Puts us in 7th. Oh man, this is going to be a big contract. A 1 year, $25 million. This puts us into 3rd place. I don't want to go more than that. This is a very big contract. This is already getting very expensive for my blood, as we're just going to kind of make this a little bit higher. Maybe make it 27, add 2 more million. Let's see what that does. That does put us in 1st place. Now for DeAndre Hopkins here. My goodness, this is already a massive deal. He's 33 years old. He will definitely keep his ratings. He will. And with 90 speed, he's an excellent route runner, but he can be the difference maker on our offense, and he can be the difference maker next to Elijah Moore. So let's bump this up. Let's see what we can do. This is already over $20 million a year. 3 years, $64 million, 98 points. Puts us in 3rd, and Dallas looks like they have a big offer out there. So let's just put a lot of this into the salary bonus. Maybe we take this down and just convert it all into salary. Make it a 3 year, oh my goodness, that's not as much as I want. 3 years, $70 million. Let's see what that, 105 points. It's competitive, but he wants more. We still have so many other contracts to make. Well, I got it. I got it to a 3 year, $80 million. It just leaves us with $11 million. So before we do anything else, let's make a couple of trades. Let's trade away both Adante Jackson and let's trade away Brandon Cooks before we do anything. I know there's going to be more dead cap hits on Brandon Cooks, which I'm okay with. I'm willing to eat that salary. Because Brandon, in my opinion, you know, he's 31 years old. His ratings have started to go down. Regression didn't hurt him as badly as I thought it would, but I just don't see the production. So let's try to get at least some type of draft pick for him. And a deal is done. We are trading Brandon Cooks, Manny Bush, and a 5th round pick to the Detroit Lions to get their early 2nd round draft pick. So this is a top 50 draft pick, so this is big. And we're moving off of our veteran receiver, a solid depth linebacker, and a late round draft pick. I think this is just extremely fair. They're getting actually a number 2 wide receiver on their roster and at least a number 2 off-ball linebacker. So I think this is extremely fair for a 2nd round draft pick. And the deal has been done to trade Adante Jackson to the Green Bay Packers. Straight up for a 2nd round draft pick. The Packers desperately needed a corner to pair up with Ajayi, and they got him. They got Jackson, and we get another 2nd round pick in the top, actually 51, so that's another great 2nd round pick value. So that's huge. So now with those 2 trades, that gives us about $10 extra million to work with. You know, we're going after the top 2 free agents, you know, paying a lot of money to these 2 players, and we're hoping we can get them both. Now, what do we do with the rest of free agency here, and what do we do if we don't get them? Let's start at wide receiver. I mean, I look at this and, you know, Galladay, no, I think if we don't go after DeAndre Hopkins, going after a player like a Michael Thomas would not at all be a bad idea for 1 year. and we can put him in the slot. He is basically our insurance plan, and then we'll most likely end up trying to draft someone with the draft capital we just obtained. But Thomas would be the other player. I just don't see us going after one of these two guys. They remind me too much of Elijah Moore and in the successful role that they would be in. So wide receiver, our backup plan in terms of free agency would be Michael Thomas. In terms of the interior of the defensive line, now obviously we're going after Donald to play defensive tackle. We're not going to get Fletcher Cox to come back. Now, Gerard Hargrave would be another player that I would consider, as well as Grover Stewart. These are two contracts that would be easily be made, and I think we can make them in the next stage if needed. So in terms of the interior defensive line, I'm not going to really do too much. So now let's look at some offensive linemen. So I would like to bring back Jake Matthews, who is all the way down to a 76 overall. Let's see his ratings right now, which they are being a little boosted. He has still solid strength. He still has solid pass blocking. Is there anyone better that I would be more interested? Garrett Bowles here. Now, he would be more of a starter caliber. I don't think we're going to go after Bowles. Let's go after Jake Matthews. This is a little bit more realistic. Let's bring this down just a tad. Though I would like for him to come after one stage. So that's going to be Jake Matthews' contract. And then for the interior offensive lineman, let's see. Will Hernandez wouldn't be a bad choice, but he's probably going to get big money. I don't know. There's actually another interior good offensive lineman. Now, David Andrews would not be a bad choice. Where does he rank? Andrews would probably actually, because I would like a good interior offensive lineman. Andrews would not at all be a bad choice. Maybe we go after Andrews. Jared O'Neal. He's 25 years old. Maybe we can work on him. I mean, he has some good ratings here. Hey, let's give a contract here to O'Neal. He has solid ratings. He's 25 years old. We can develop him. Let's give him a 2-year deal. Maybe that will entice him to come in here, and he can be a backup offensive lineman for us. So that's backup offensive line. I don't want to forget about Blake Cashman. Cashman is another player that I would like to bring back if I can find Cashman. Well, Blake Cashman has a ton of interest by the Minnesota Vikings, so I guess we're going to say goodbye to Blake. So that is not a move that I kind of expected. So let's go look at my list here. A lot of them were inside linebackers. Now, Nick Bolton, I just don't see us being able to bring him in. He wants a massive deal. Bobby Wagner would not be a bad choice. Let's see Wagner. I want to see his speed because he wouldn't be a bad veteran. Actually, he has still excellent coverage ability and solid enough speed. So let's try to bring in now Bobby Wagner to maybe come in here, bring some veteran leadership. We're trying to win a Super Bowl. Maybe he could get Aaron Donald to come in with him. So we'll offer him a 1-year deal. And now running back. So Michael Carter, who is the top-rated back, has a ton of interest by Philly and Houston. Travis Etienne, the Dolphins want him. In terms of running backs, the only other back besides Michael Carter that I would have been willing to give a contract to would be Travis. Now, they both want the same amount. In this scenario, I would give a contract to Carter. So let's see what the fair offer is just immediately off the bat. And that puts us into first place. You know what? Let's give a contract here to Carter. I would rather not to lose Carter and give him to a team that might need him. So I'm going to bump this up kind of significantly to 3 years, $17 million. I want to secure Michael. I know I had a lot of hesitation, but he can run, he can catch. We know how good he can be. And this would kind of line up with his contract and Adam Wright's contract. So those are right now the contracts that I'm thinking after stage 1. A couple backup offensive linemen, a backup off-ball linebacker, and then 3 difference makers on the offense and defensive side of the ball. So let's sim to the next week, and let's see if we have any new and returning New York Jets. Oh my. Oh my. Welcoming in DeAndre Hopkins, Aaron Donald, bringing back Michael Carter, Bobby Wagner, Jared O'Neal, and Jake Matthews. Welcome to the team and welcome back to the team. We are improving this New York Jets team significantly. We just gave Steven James a true, legitimate #1 wide receiver throughout this league and a legitimate red zone threat. I am so happy to bring in DeAndre Hopkins, and he can be an excellent partner to Elijah Moore. We also brought in Aaron Donald. Now, Donald will be kicked in the inside, but now we have an excellent defensive line with Jackson, Williams, and John Franklin Myers. With Donald, my goodness, we posted up over 50 sacks this past season. We could get, each of these guys can each get 10 sacks plus, and I'm hoping that they can do so. This is huge for our defense. We're also welcoming in Bobby Wagner, as well as some backup offensive linemen to help this team out. Very happy with stage 1, and giving a contract to Michael Carter, which I really did not expect myself to do. I just didn't want to see him go to Philly. So it's a reasonable deal. It's about $5 million, a little over $5 million a year. Maybe not super realistic, but it's a fair contract, and I'm willing to give that to him. Now, we're still sitting on $11 million, and I would like to still spend that money. I would like to keep us with 5, so I'm going to look around this free agency pool and see if we can bring in any other quality playmakers or players to this team to add. So I am offering 2 contracts to Juwan Johnson and to Grover Stewart, 2 small contracts, but let's look around this league. So Zach Martin, he's heading to Carolina, getting a big 1-year deal. Detroit's getting a new left tackle. Rondale Moore going to the New York Football Giants. Some offensive linemen moving around. Devontae Smith stays in Philly. Travis Etienne, we're going to see him now. We struggled against playing against him, so we'll see how that will play. Nick Bolton is joining Zach Martin in Carolina. So a lot of changes, and the Giants went out there and spent big money. Didn't they bring in, who else did they? They brought in 2 big-time wide receivers. Wow, what the hell? What are they doing at wide receiver? Fletcher Cox is now going to Tennessee. Jason Horn going to the Green Bay Packers. They added to their secondary this offseason. So a lot of movement around the league. But let's sim to the next week, and then we'll talk a little bit about the draft. So Blake Cashman did end up going to the Minnesota Vikings. That's probably one player that I really wish we didn't lose, but it's okay. We'll bite the bullet there. So entering into stage 3 of the offseason, we have some 5th-year options and private workouts. Now, there's 3 5th-year options. Now, I don't know how Madden 22 works, but I remember in Madden 20, if you had 3 players, you could do this. You can get them all 5th-year options, but let's see. So we'll start off with Michael Hamden. Hamden was our first ever draft pick, and he's definitely a player that I want to pick this contract offer to. I think that he is a long-term piece for this secondary, and I'm a little biased with my first ever draft picks. With our second first-round pick in that draft, we drafted Doug Thomas. Now, Doug, he's been a solid starting offensive lineman. I just think that we could pay him. The question really goes to, do I think that we need to replace 2 offensive linemen in next offseason, and that's my concern. But with his 5th-year option, I am not picking up. He's a good offensive lineman. I think we can give him a contract at the end of this year, or trade him. But he's a solid player, and we'll work on it later. And Steven James's contract is not coming up. He is a first-round draft pick. Is that scenario not going to come up for James? Let me make sure that he's actually was a first-round pick. I mean, he's from that draft class, so I remember that he was. So is the game just bugging out, or am I crazy? I might just be crazy. Let's see. Yeah, maybe the game's just bugging out on me. Let me know down below, guys, what you guys want me to do with that. If you guys want me to give him a 5th-year option or not. Personally, I would just offer or give him a 1-year deal just because he's a first-round draft pick. We have the ability to give him a 5th-year option. But it is Madden. Let me know down below what you guys think I should do. But let's go do some private workouts. I have some players' names written down that I would be considering, and then we can talk a little bit about some of my favorite players. So let's start off with corner. And now I have put a lot of time and focus. I know these two are two of the better players in this draft class, but Shelton Love is the player that I think that we will have the ability to draft. So Shelton is a player that I want to do a private workout with. The next player is actually on the offensive line. It's a right tackle, Sam Nicholson. I only know 50% of him. I want to know more. He's 6'8", very intrigued with him. And then the last player that I want to know about is actually another offensive lineman, just because I want to make sure that we have the ability to draft one of them if I can find him. So we're going to also do it to Steve Hall. So we have 3 private workouts. We're going to confirm this. So 2 offensive linemen and a corner, just because I know we're going to probably end up trying to draft 1 or 2 of these players. So, and I want to get as much information on them as possible. But let's go through the prospects real quick, and let me talk to you guys about, this is a very good draft class. Now, in terms of quarterback, Tyson McLeod, he is the best quarterback in this draft class. Now, I'm not looking to draft him, but he's definitely by far, out of looking at all the quarterbacks, he's the guy. Now, in terms of the running back position, there are plenty of backs in this class that I really would like to draft, but Taylor Newberry here, he's the guy that I'm circling. He's a power runner, which is interesting because he is very, very fast. He has elite strength, he has elite speed, he's a good athlete. Change of direction does worry me a little bit, but he's okay. From these ratings with A injury, A ball carrier vision, and A carry, he might not catch the ball well, but in terms of pure running, he's definitely on my board. He's definitely a player that I am looking to draft with one of our picks. In terms of wide receiver, probably the most intriguing player that I have found was Phil Costello. Now, he's a deep threat. 5'7", he has a lot of speed, it seems like. He's second out of the draft class. He has elite speed by what this is saying. And overall, his skill set, he has solid deep route running. He has C awareness, which I definitely prioritize. C catching is definitely a player that I'm intrigued with. And then the last player that I want to show you guys and that I am definitely considering drafting, at least with our first round pick, is Jalen Joseph here. B finesse moves, B power moves, B tackle, 21 years old, a physical playmaker, good athlete, solid strength. He looks very good with B awareness as well. So from a pass rushing standpoint and a run stopping perspective, he is definitely a player I am intrigued with. Now, let's go quickly look at our draft picks, because now we have more. Does this screen show me? It does not. Let me go find the draft picks. So we are entering into this draft class with the 30th overall pick. We have the 30th overall pick, 3 second-round draft picks, so that is huge. 2 of them, in the top 51. We have 2 3s, so that's huge. A 4 and a 7. So we definitely have having a lot of picks. We have 6 picks in the top 100 with a team that just went to the AFC Championship game. We have a lot of draft capital to make a lot of good moves. So we can either trade up in this draft class, or we can stay put, take the best players that I like available, and go in that route. Either way, I think we're going to end up with a lot of good playmakers and either quality depth for the future or quality depth for today. The last thing before we sim to the next week is the salary. This is something that probably should have looked at before giving out a big massive contract to DeAndre Hopkins. But these are the big contracts on the roster. Winston Williams making the most money. Next to him is Mekhi Becton with Elijah Moore. And now DeAndre Hopkins. John Franklin Myers, his contract is up at the end of this season. Michael Hamden has an extra year on his deal. Bryce Hall is one of the top payers. So these are the deals that we have to think about for next season. And, immediately, yet again, let me know down below what you guys want me to do with James. I will give him a 5th-year option if I don't hear anything from you guys, because I know that in the real NFL, you can get, if you trade for a first-round pick quarterback or a player, they still have their 5th-year option. So, and I want to pick that up. But Steven Meredith, Sean Samuel, their contracts are up. Jalen Smith's deal is up. Doug Thomas, because we didn't pick up his 5th-year option, as well as Elijah Vanna Tucker, Jack Conklin, and John Franklin Myers. So we actually have a lot of big contracts to think about. Thankfully, what we're basically trying to do with this team is win a Super Bowl next year. I'm hoping that with the additions of with DeAndre Hopkins and with and Aaron Donald, that it takes this team over the top. That's what I'm hoping for, and I think we can do exactly that. So definitely, though, we have to make sure that with the players that are on 1-year deals, that we can get players that can potentially replace them. So Grover Stewart rejected our offer. We'll check out the free agency recap just a second, but let's go check out the 3 players we looked at. So let's check out Sheldon Love and the 2 offensive linemen. We'll start with Sheldon. So Sheldon, who's a player that I did not show you guys, but he has good catching, good press, good zone. The press tells me that he probably has good man coverage. Now his speed isn't the fastest, but it's still solid. It says solid, so I'm hoping in the high 80s, 88, 89, but he has good tackling, good hit power, and hopefully the good big play potential with the B catching. Let's look at the 2 offensive linemen. I don't think that I wish I would just 100% scout them, but Steve Hall. So Hall here, good awareness, good pass blocking. Don't know his run blocking. 22 years old. He has great strength. So not elite, but still great. Solid all around here. Not a finesse blocker. Probably still a very good pick here. He would definitely be a steal in the 3rd round or something. And then finally, Sam Nicholson, who did not get it, but I'll still show you guys anyways. B awareness, which is the main reason I wanted to give him this, but he has solid strength, or great strength, excuse me. But that's it. That's the only things that I know about him, because Madden 22 does not work, apparently. So let's talk draft strategy. We have 3 second-round picks and 2 third-round picks and a 4 and a 7. So we have the capital to move up in this draft class. And in reality, I don't think that there's really a player that we should be trying to move up for. I mean, there are players that I would love to get, but at the end of the day, I think that if we're only moving up a few spots, we can move off of our 2 third-round picks or our later 3rd-round pick to move up in this draft class. There isn't like an actual target. I think we're basically going into this class with the best player on my board that I have available. I think that's straight up what we're going to do. We're just trying to add as much talent to this roster as possible, and we'll find a role for them in this up-and-coming year. Now let's go check out Grover Stewart's contract. Where did he end up? Juwan Johnson, I don't think he's going to sign with us. Let's just go to defensive tackle. Where is Grover Stewart? Stewart is going to Tampa Bay. He's taking the massive 1-year deal. Makes sense. And you know what? We're just going to offer probably a 1-year deal to Juwan Johnson during the preseason. But let's sim to the next week and let's go do the draft. And here we are in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Chicago Bears are officially on the clock, and I'm not looking to move up. I don't think that we need to. I think we're going to try to take the best players available. So the Chicago Bears with the first pick in the class we'll take Taysom McLeod. Okay, so it's the Madden 22, drafting quarterbacks to teams that don't need quarterbacks. The Seattle Seahawks are now on the clock with the number 2 overall pick. They have drafted Bradley McLeod, corner. So that's a big playmaker for their secondary. The Las Vegas Raiders draft Clayton Wilcox, another corner. So 2 corners go off the board in the top 3. The Bengals, as they draft Gabriel, a right tackle, helping out Joe Burrow and his offensive line. And our divisional rivals, the Miami Dolphins, they have selected Terrell Jordan, wide receiver out of Florida. The New York Giants, my team, picking the top 10, they drafted Jarvis Tucker, pass rusher, also from Florida. Some big-time playmakers, no one yet on my board. Stephen Clemens drafted to the LA Chargers. Now the Rams, Eddie Griffin, wide receiver. The Bills, another divisional team. Giardi Foreman, if I mispronounce any names, let me know down below. Wide receivers, they continue to add to their talented group. And finishing off the top 10, D'Angelo Daly, another pass rusher. Pittsburgh Steelers, Justin Pereira, another pass rusher. So 3 pass rushers go off the board. Still no one that I'm looking for. Detroit also drafts the pass rusher. The Colts get an outside linebacker, probably a pass rusher in their scheme. And now the New England Patriots, Larrbearxd, wide receiver. So all of our divisional rivals, I think, have drafted a wide receiver. Amari Feeney going to the Cardinals. And now the Minnesota Vikings, Jalen Joseph. Now, he was one of the top targets on my board. He was probably my favorite player to be drafted here in the first round. I just didn't want to move up into the teens. So there's one player off the board. And now DeMar Thomas going to the Bucks. The Philadelphia Eagles, Ben Hardwick, outside linebacker. The Green Bay Packers select Chris Morris, defensive tackle. As we are 10 picks away, let's check out the board. If there's really any players that I would be wanting in this spot. As of right now, the first player on my board would be James Davis. Player who has good block shed, good power moves. Could be a younger replacement for John Franklin Myers, maybe. But I don't know. I don't know if we would go to pass rusher here in the first round. Is there anyone else in this? Michael Axa. I don't think we would draft a wide receiver, or if we did, I probably wouldn't draft him. Phil is definitely the guy that I would like. So yeah, I mean, I don't think right now there's any players that we are truly targeting. So now the Denver Broncos are on the clock here. They shall pick Andrew Morris, another pass rusher. A lot of pass rushers going here. Houston takes James Davis. So one of our other players on my board. Reed Rivers, pass rusher to the New Orleans Saints. And now this Kansas City Chiefs add a tight end, Brandon Wilkins. So maybe getting Kelsey's replacement. San Francisco, Ed Newell, corner. The Tennessee Titans, they have selected Ballard, another pass rusher, Jesus Christ. Atlanta Falcons, Andrew Grotto, tight end. Cleveland Browns, I'm sorry if I mispronounce anyone's names. Jesus Christ, I can't even pronounce names. D'Angelo Wilkins, wide receiver. He was someone else that was on my board. Carolina Panthers, Anthony, another outside linebacker. And now the one more pick to be made, the Dallas Cowboys, Kendall Richard, going running back here in the first round. So now we are on the clock. What do we do here with the 30th overall draft pick? There's still a lot of good prospects on the board. Now, we're not looking to draft a quarterback. I think it would be too early to draft Taylor. Now, this is a spot where, we could draft Phillip. we could get a speedster, a wide receiver, and basically sit back and say this. We have 4 very talented receivers, and Phil could be the replacement for Sean after a season. Wouldn't have to think about that. For offensive line, I mean, for the players that I am looking at, Steve is a day 3 pick. Probably try to draft him in the later 2nd round. For Sam, same type of thing. Now for pass rusher, Tony Tucker. Yeah, I mean, this is not really a spot for him. No one else here. Defensive tackle. This is another interesting spot. Do we decide to go a defensive tackle? Now, Eddie Kirkpatrick, he's the player that I had written down. Now, he's a day 3 prospect. He was my favorite. Do we just take a shot at one of these players, though? I don't know. We could draft a linebacker, Jimmy Pearson. He would probably be a good player to be made here. Let's see his stuff. And I don't really know too much about him, but I know he has good speed, and that's usually what I look for at linebacker these days. So Jimmy, could he be a player that we draft? Or do we go corner? I mean, Sheldon Love here, he's the player that we've heavily scouted. Could definitely be an option here. And I think that's the pick. With here in the 2025 draft, with the 30th overall pick, the New York Jets have drafted Sheldon Love, cornerback, LSU. 90 speed, 92 acceleration, normal development, which definitely hurts being a first-round draft pick. But he's an athlete. He can make plays. He's probably going to end up being a backup for at least this first year. We're drafting him to basically, hopefully replace next year James Bradberry. So I'm going to basically commentate on the draft picks up until the 3rd round. Then we will start picking up the pace because we have now 3 second-round picks. So the Washington football team, Austin Myers, guard. And now the Super Bowl champions, the Jacksonville Jaguars, to help out their team, Cody Jared, replacing Travis Etienne, I guess. The Bears, they go Steven, a center. The Seahawks, what do they add? They added a tight end. The Raiders, they've added another pass rusher. The Bengals, Michael, this is a wide receiver that I had a lot of interest in, but I didn't think I was going to draft him. The Miami Dolphins select a guard, helping out their offensive line, as the New York Giants, who added a lot of wide receiver, Jimmy Pearson. That's the linebacker that I debate about drafting. The LA Chargers, Connor Grant, corner. Don't need a corner anymore. Stallworth, running back to the LA Rams. Now the Bills draft a safety. The Ravens draft a guard. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, as we're going to enter onto the clock, draft a wide receiver. Not the receiver I was targeting and not the receiver we're going to draft here. I'm absolutely not going to be passing up on this kid again. And he's right there. Phil Costello, wide receiver, Georgia, 5'7", 97 speed with hidden development, 21 years old. Happy to bring him onto this roster. Maybe more of a gadget playmaker for our team, but he can make plays, and I'm hoping that development trade is not just star depth, but that's a huge get for our team. So with our first 2 draft picks, we've drafted a corner and a wide receiver. Still looking to add some offensive line depth. Still would like to draft Taylor Newberry, but maybe an interior defensive tackle would also be nice. We have 6 more picks until our selection. Taylor Rivers, free safety to the Colts. Dom Brown going to the Patriots. They add more playmakers to their secondary. Clayton Scott to the Cardinals. The Vikings drafted McFarland, going safety there, and now center going to the what's their names? The Bucks, Jesus Christ. The Eagles, Stephen Blackman, wide receiver, and now we're back on the clock. what do we do here? Let's go check out my board. So, I mean, these guys are all UDFAs. Any players in this range? Matthew Byers. Okay, let's see Matthew. B tackle, don't know his zone coverage. Fast, so you guys all know I like my fast off-ball linebackers. And, you know, we know he can catch. But Matthew Byers, would he be a good enough draft pick here? How much do we believe in J.J. Cunningham? I have some offensive linemen. These are more UDFAs. Josh McGee, wide receiver. I'm not looking to draft a wide receiver anymore. I mean, if we did, it would be in the later rounds. I just don't see anyone right now. Dexter Glaston could go defensive tackle. Jamal Alexander, maybe. Some more defensive tackles. And Eddie Kirkpatrick. What do we do here? Or do we just go with my favorite player? I don't know. I think here in the second round, because of the fact that I was way more sure on this tackle, I want to draft Sam Nicholson. Might be a little later. I know I don't know as much information, but awareness intrigues me. I'm hoping he has hidden development, and I want to make sure we have an offensive lineman, at least for the next season, to build around. So Sam Nicholson will be the draft pick here with the 19th pick in the second round. And he has normal development, but he has 98 strength. Really hoping that he's a 70 overall-ish. Hoping that that's the case. So now we have one more second round pick, and then we have 2 3s. So I kind of know what I want to do here in the to end off in the second round. So we're gonna go a little bit faster here. Maybe we'll take a closer look at like the Chiefs draft pick who they draft. They drafted a corner. A few more picks to go. Cody Youngblood. Scott going to the Titans. Glass going to the Falcons. Best going to the Browns. Couple more picks. And now the New York Jets are on the clock. And I'm not going to wait anymore. Not going to wait anymore until to draft this guy. I've wanted him ever since I looked at him. We are drafting Taylor Newberry. I know this is way too early, but get the players you want. We know he's a great runner. We know he's going to be a good runner. Don't know about his catching. Doesn't matter. He's coming to this roster. Taylor Newberry will be the end of our second round, and he has hidden development with 90 speed, 95 acceleration, 90 agility, and 84 strength. My goodness. 82 change of direction. Really, really happy with this draft pick with that hidden development. Very happy with this pick. And now let's go a little faster here. And now what do we do in the third round? You know, we've gone a lot heavy on the offensive side of the ball within the second round. Getting a wide receiver, a tackle, and a running back. There goes Matthews to the Seahawks. He's definitely a player that I want to check out. There's a couple of defensive tackles I want to check out. Now here in the third round, I think we'll end up going with defense. There's a defensive player that I want to draft, and hopefully we can get him. Not looking to trade up. I want to keep as many picks as I can because I think we need quality depth on this team. And maybe we will trade away our 4th round pick. But for right here, right now, not seeing the player go. Happy to see that if I keep talking, maybe he will not go. As so far, it's working. Jalen Hill going to the Cardinals, and now we are a few more selections. Philly, don't do it, please. And Philly doesn't do it. Let's go. So here in the third round, we will be going with defensive tackle because we need to. Eddie Kirkpatrick from Kansas State. I think, wait, is Eddie really the pick that I want to make here? Is there another defensive tackle? 1 second. So Eddie Kirkpatrick. Is there a better player on the board? No, let's go with my gut feeling. Let's go with Eddie. Eddie's the pick. Let's see what we got. So Eddie Kirkpatrick, I don't know much about him, but I have a sneaky suspicion that he will be good. He has great strength. I know he has good hit power. I think from an overall perspective, he'll be a high 60s. What am I doing? Why do I do this to myself? Just draft him. Eddie Kirkpatrick's the pick. 93 strength. Normal dev. Disappointed with that, but 93 strength. Hopefully from a run stopping perspective. That's what I want. I want a good run stopper to come to this roster. So Eddie Kirkpatrick is the pick. As now we will just sim to our 3rd round pick. And now let's go make our second 3rd round pick of the day. And with our other 3rd round draft pick, we're gonna go with Tony Tucker from Florida, pass rusher. I really would like to hit on another pass rusher, and he has hidden dev, 82 strength, 76 speed, a little slow, but we're helping out our defensive line here in the 3rd round. We went all offense in the 2nd round, and now we're going defensive line here in the 3rd round. I debated about trading away this draft pick, but I want to get another quality offensive lineman. Max Winkler will be the pick. 21 years old from Boston College. He's the draft pick. Center, 95 strength, normal dev. We're going to help out our interior of our offensive line. He might be pushed to guard with that solid, good enough strength to be moved to guard. But I like Max. I think he can be a good player for our team. He's another player that I wrote down, so that's the reason we're drafting him. Now we have one more draft pick to be made. So we're just going to kind of just sim all the way there. And we're going to see who's still on my board. There's one player that I'm hoping is still there. We'll see if he is. But this is one of the last draft picks here in the draft class. If we can get him, it would be huge. We'll see. He's another pass rusher. And he is. Chris Biggs from Miami. Finesse moves. 23 years old. He's a little bit of an athlete. He might not have the best strength, but good hit power, okay awareness. Chris Biggs is the draft pick, and he has 77 strength, 78 speed, normal dev, but we're going to help up our defensive line with our last pick of the draft. So what did you guys think? We brought in two big-time playmakers for our team on both sides of the ball. Through free agency, we were able to bring in big-time playmakers, hopefully here in the draft. As let's go do this draft recap. Let's see how we did here. So with the first draft pick, Sheldon Love, 21 years old, normal dev. I'll change up the numbers and add some more cosmetics. So 90 speed, 72 man, 77 zone, 66 catching is very good to just start out at corner. So I'm very happy with this draft pick. Now, he's probably going to be our number 4 or 5 corner on the roster. But he's definitely, and that's 73 hit power. He might be getting some good hit sticks, but he's definitely a very good pick. And from just an overall look at from the draft, we hit a home run class here. Phil Caskello, our first hidden dev player, 5'7", under 200 pounds. Now he can go in any direction. It's 97 strength. Jesus Christ. He can do it all. He also has some running back in him. He's probably going to do some kickoffs, but he is definitely a playmaker in the works here. Number 18 for our offense. Sam here, also normal development. But yes, 70 overall. Very happy with this pick. Gotta work on that pass finesse, but that's it. Overall, these ratings, give it a year. Give it a year. That 82 injury is though a concern. But give it a season. He will be a starter soon enough. Taylor Newberry, probably my favorite player out of this draft class. 5'11", 231 pounds. Definitely much more of a power back, hidden dev, but he can do it all. I mean, he just has to work on those moves but he has excellent speed to work with power. I'm intrigued with Taylor. I want to see him get the rock. Eddie Kirkpatrick, a pick that I was a little iffy about, but he is definitely a big run stopper, and I'm happy with this pick. He's not gonna beat you as a pass rusher, but hey, if he can be the next Grover Stewart on this team, I'm happy with it. So Eddie Kirkpatrick enters this team. Tony Tucker, a pass rusher with hidden dev, 6'5", almost 300 pounds. You know, he also might be actually more of an interior pass rusher, but I really like this pick here. We'll see what that depth trait is. Very happy. He might actually be kicked inside. Max Winkler, 72 overall, 21 years old. He'll probably be moved to guard. Happy with this pick as well. And then finally, to end the draft, we drafted Chris Biggs here. Much more of a speed rusher with 77 finesse moves. He's a project. Definitely a project. Maybe a practice squad candidate. But let's go check out this draft class. I still don't know why this is like that. Don't ask me. No idea. But let's go check out this draft class. Let's do a little bit of a draft recap. So here, Taysom McLeod, the quarterback, went #1 overall, and I don't know why the Chicago Bears don't need a quarterback. But he's a very good quarterback. He'll be probably one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. But my goodness, Bradley McLeod here, corner, going to Seattle. He's a day one starter. He's already fantastic. He would have been a player that if I really wanted to, and we could have, if we used our draft capital, he would have been a playmaker to go get. But I didn't think it was going after one of these two corners to get. Clayton Wilcox here, also hidden dev, very good coverage ability, speed. This is definitely a Raiders draft pick. Happy that Raiders got a good corner. Taylor Jordan here, going to our divisional rivals. Very good receiver off the bat. Now, I could be wrong here, but I think all of our rivals drafted a wide receiver. Fordman, and yeah, they all went wide receiver in the first round. So that's definitely an interesting note. But Jalen Joseph here, he was the player that I would have drafted in the first round if we had an opportunity to. And yeah, he's definitely a player that I wish we could have gotten. You know, he would have been an excellent pick, but I'm still happy with our class. Hidden dev, good pass rusher, good run stopper, could do it all for you. 21 years old, happy with, I guess, the Vikings drafting him. James Davis, another player that I was considering. More of a run stopper with some pass rushing moves, but definitely more of a run stopper to off the bat. So, okay with missing out on him. I don't think that we missed out on anyone. There's Shelton Love. Let's go see if there's anyone. This is Michael. This is another player that I was debating about. 75 overall, hidden dev. Good, solid speed. Deep threat, pure deep threat right here. But that 79 injury is a concern. Jimmy Pearson here. Would have been a solid draft pick. I mean, off the bat, probably would have been a backup, probably would have played that third linebacker spot, but wasn't worth taking in the first round to take him, I don't think. Let's see if there's any other players. There's Phil. Trying to find anyone else that off the bat that I can think of that I would have drafted if we had the opportunity to. Jamal Alexander, he would have been the other player, and maybe this is a player that we should have drafted. Fantastic finesse moves off the bat. Good player, but, you know, a lot of good steals in this draft. This draft was heavily. Matthew Byer would have been another good pick, but maybe, yeah, he's a solid selection. 76 or 77, 67 zone coverage is good. Let's go see the highest rated players from the draft. So 2 corners. If you needed a corner, you got him. Well, the Miami Dolphins got a big-time player, and let's go see some of the steals in this draft. Let's go to the second round. So, Jalen Thornton, pass rusher, went to the Raiders, but we also got one of the better steals at the end of the second round. The third round center, Chase Love, and Jamal Anderson would have been could have been our picks, I guess. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying sometimes. The fourth round, this is a fantastic draft class. Jesus Christ. You could have not gone wrong with this class. Could have gotten any players, it seems like. And then in the seventh round, the highest rated player was at 68 overall. So that's the draft, everyone. How did I do? Let me know down below. I would love to know what you guys would have done differently. You know, we did a lot to change up this roster, as we will just go take a quick look here. And we will just generate the best lineup right now. This would be the starters if I'm not touching anything. I mean, hey, we have 2 number 1 receivers. We have talent, even more talent at wide receiver. We have more talent at the running back group. We have more talent on the offensive line. We have a good tight end group. Defensively, obviously Donald to be in the inside in our base defense. But we have a lot of good playmakers on this team. I'm excited for this year. We have a good team here. Hopefully this is the year. Let's go sim to the next week. And here we are in the 2025 season after a fantastic off season. Let's go quickly check out the schedule and then sign any undrafted players. Well, let's go see this schedule here. We have Tampa Bay. Well, we got a revenge game versus the Houston Texans. You guys know I want to play against them. You know, we have some other teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have the Ravens, the Chiefs, another team that I want to play against. And I'm not seeing anyone else. I don't see the Tennessee Titans. No one else, but we have a lot of good games this year. I'm excited, you know. It's a rematch versus Joe Burrow and a lot of other teams that we have not seen. You know, the Dallas Cowboys went to the AFC Championship game last year, so we'll see how we'll play against them. We get to play against Lamar Jackson, but we have an early bye week this year, so we'll see how that will play a role in terms of injuries. But we start off against Tampa Bay, so this is going to be fun. We have a lot of good, fun games coming up. I'm excited for this season. But let's go sign some UDFA players. With one of our first UDFA players, we'll sign Jeremy Brown, running back. You guys all know I like my running backs. We'll bring him in to a 1-year deal. We're also going to bring in offensive lineman Jamari Nash, guard. Might as well get some offensive line depth. Doug Crockett, off-ball linebacker, young rookie. Might as well bring him in as well. We're also going to bring back to the roster Joshua Moon, safety. And then I do not want to lose Juwan Johnson, so we're going to bring back him for another season, leaving us with about $4 million to work with. These are still all the available free agents. I mean, I'm not really looking to bring in a brand new kicker. There's a ton of them out there. Punters. Javon Hargrave, he might not be also a bad player to bring in for at least... Actually, yeah, we'll bring in Javon also. So we'll get another veteran defensive tackle. Tom Brady's a free agent still, apparently. Not looking to bring him in. I mean, we could bring back Robert Gordon. I just don't see us having a role for him. So I don't think we will. Now, actually, we should consider bringing back Robert. Can we afford him? Yeah, let's bring back Robert Gordon. He's a good player. He might be a cut casualty, actually, but he has to make the roster. He didn't really impress me during the season this past year, but, you know, you never know. But yeah, guys, I don't think we're going to make any other moves to bring players in. I'm not really seeing anyone. So this will be the roster for the preseason football, as we have 70 players on the team. We have made a lot of moves, a lot of new players, as we're just going to, again, do the generate the best team. I will change up some of the offensive lineman positions who we've drafted, just to fill out completely the roster. But I'm excited for this season. I think we did an excellent job of bringing in talent, bringing in between a mix of hugely talented defensive players. Same thing with offensive players. The team does somewhat look the same, but we're having basically a new starting off-ball linebacker. We're having a new starting interior defensive lineman. We have our new starting wide receiver. We're hoping that both Hopkins and Aaron Donald can change lives here in New York. But guys, please let me know what you thought down below. Please leave a like on the video. It really does help me out. And guys, I really do appreciate you watching this probably hour-long rant that I have just constructed together. These episodes do take me a long time to make, and it's a lot of thought that I put behind them. So guys, I really do appreciate you watching, and I will see you in preseason football versus the Minnesota Vikings. We will go through the entirety of the highlights. But guys, I will see you in the next one.